I suppose many people have said to you, welcome back home, and you must be ecstatic to be back.
Yeah, sure.
Are you a bitter man?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
But it must have left scars there for you.
Yeah, no, it was unpleasant and, boring, but I'm not I don't know about bitter about it. I mean, they can go to hell as far as I'm concerned, but...
well, that will be a form of bitterness in
yeah,
some respect.
maybe.
Yeah. You're angry at things.
Sure.
If I asked you to tell me the story from how it first happened, and I know you've done this many times before, so that we can get into it and I can probe and ask you questions as to what happened during these periods of time. How did it all start? If we went to Canada for your son's wedding.
Yeah, sure. Well, we were, flying Emirates, and we were checking in to come back after the wedding at Toronto. We were told that there was a problem with my visa because there was about a 10 or 12 hour delay between arriving in Dubai and leaving for Cape Town. So they gave us hotel vouchers to stay over, and we got visas for a day visa for going to the hotel at Dubai. And when we were checking in at Toronto, they said there was a problem with my visa. We asked why, and they said, we'll just go and check with management. They came back after checking with management and said, there's no problem, go ahead.
So let's stop at that point.
Emirates Airline.
Emirates Airline,
Yeah.
you believe in that by doing that, coerced you into appearing in Dubai.
Well, not coerced me. I mean, I had a ticket with them to come back to Cape Town.
But they knew that there was a problem.
I'm sure they knew, and they lied by checking and then saying there was no problem.
Okay, then what happened then?
Well, then we got on the plane, arrived in Dubai at about 6 p.m. and collected the visas. And as soon as we went through passport to go to the airport hotel, they said to me, you're a murderer.
That was just awful. Just the screaming of murderer. Interpol was mentioned. They said that he was on the Interpol flag list and so forth. And then they just separated. They dragged him off, and I'm standing in this empty, huge hall. All the other passengers are gone, and no one else didn't know what was going on.
You must have had a terrible shock.
Yeah, was a little bit. Yeah, not used to not used to checking in at an airline and being told I'm a murderer. And I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. But they then took me off to the airport, a little hockey.
Eventually, 2 hours later, I was taken through to see him and give him his toothbrush, and that was about it. They didn't say why they were keeping him. I said, why can't he come? Silence. Nothing.
I spent the night on a bench in Emirates, the Emirates office in Dubai, and I then sort of communicated with the embassy and sort of found out what was happening. The next day I was taken to Khalifa jail in Abu Dhabi, where I spent another night, small jail, and then I went to Khalidia jail, and then I was taken to Al Wathba Central Jail, where I spent the rest of the 2 months.
My eldest daughter and her husband and family were with us on the same flight. They'd gone through. They had no idea where we were the whole night. I mean, and when that only I could find her the following night, when we were due to go off to South Africa, when the authorities had taken all our luggage, all mine and Cyril's luggage, would not allow me to travel with my luggage. I had nothing on me. And I told Sarah about this. She said, no, don't be, this is not funny, Ma,
Yeah.
So, I'm not joking.
Well, it's incredulous. Nobody can believe this story. It's like something out of a Mills and Boon or something.
And I
horrible.
said, could I stay? Because, I thought I could perhaps organise things there, and at least I'm on the outside. And they refused. They physically put me on the plane. So I wouldn't stay there.
And when you got back to South Africa?
Well, then you have to explain all this. You go to all the lawyers, all of this. How do you pick an advocate to defend him? Luckily, one of Sarah's friends, who's an advocate, said he'll just go over on his own and pick one for us, which is what he did, voluntarily. And I'm very, very grateful to David Welgemoed.
But didn't you at some point tell them that you were a heart sufferer, that you have a pacemaker?
When I got to Khaladia, when I got to Al Wathba, I was there with a group of large group of other prisoners, and then I sort of showed them my my pacemaker, and I said I was having angina, so they decided to put me in the medical clinic of Al Wathba prison, which was, I guess, better than the ordinary prison. There were only 16 other people there, and a lot of them, some of them in wheelchairs, and all with some medical complaint or other.
There you are in prison, and then 8 months later you're released. At all times, did you ever feel you were coming to an end, or did it seem like it was never going to end, and why?
Well, the reason why, I think, is just they are totally inefficient. And this came to a head when I was trying to get my passport and exit visa at the end. Everything they do is inefficient. It's not, I don't believe it was malicious. They just don't know how to organize things. You did feel that, when there was you finished at court and you weren't sometimes sure what was happening, and then you had to find out maybe from the lawyer and maybe from the newspapers the next day. It was a bit worrying when the next court appearance was given you, and that was in 6 weeks' time, so that was a bit depressing. It was less depressing when the next court appearance was in 1 week's time.
And then they let you out on a 250,000 rand bail. How did you get that money there, or was it donated, or was it your money?
It was donated. It was sent over, I presume, by Michael, I suppose. Yes. I don't know. It was, from a South African. Yeah.
So that's only the beginning of what your expenses become.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't know. You see, we had applied for bail 4 or 5 times and been refused. And eventually, I think it was on the 11th of October, we again applied for bail, and this time it was accepted. I wasn't aware, of who was going to pay the money or how it was going to be done. It just happened, but I think it was actually through Michael Bagram and a friend of his that paid the money.